Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi remained silent in the room after the masked figure had disappeared. This new threat had revealed the true powers behind the leader. The trio had to be prepared to confront these dark forces. Haruto looked at the crystal sphere in the center of the room and said, "If this device allows us to traverse parallel universes, we might be able to use its power to stop them." Naomi replied, "But these transitions could be dangerous. We need to be prepared." Kazuki added, "Our weapons and equipment might not be enough. We need more information and resources." Haruto examined the crystal sphere carefully and said, "I can initiate the transition using this sphere. But once we start, there might be no turning back." Naomi said, "We're ready. No matter what, we're together." Kazuki urged, "Haruto, go ahead and start it. Let's not waste any more time." Haruto touched the crystal sphere, starting the flow of energy. A wave of energy spread throughout the room, and the trio vanished into a bright light. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves in a completely different world. The sky had taken on a reddish hue, and strange structures loomed around them. Haruto said, "This world, it must be one of the parallel universes." Naomi commented, "This place looks really strange, but we need to be careful. We don't know what we'll encounter here." Kazuki suggested, "Let's move forward. Maybe someone here can help us." After a while, they reached an old and dilapidated village. In the middle of the village, an elderly man was sitting. Haruto approached him and said, "Hello, we arrived here by accident. We need your help." The old man asked, "You are strangers. How did you get here?" With curiosity, Naomi replied, "We traveled through a crystal sphere. Can you tell us about the dangers of this world?" The old man said, "If you want to stay safe here, you must avoid the shadows. In this world, shadows hunt the living." Kazuki asked, "Shadows? What does that mean?" The old man explained, "The shadows are the dark forces of this world. You should avoid them and find shelter. Come with me. I'll show you a safe place." Following the old man, they reached a cave outside the village. However, just as they were about to enter, shadows began to appear around them. Haruto shouted, "Quick, get into the cave!" Naomi urged, "Run! Hurry up!" In a panic, Kazuki added, "They're coming! Move fast!" The trio scrambled into the cave to escape the shadows. The old man said, "These shadows are the most dangerous creatures in this world. We'll be safe here." As they sat in the cave, Haruto said, "We can't stay in this world for long. We need to find the powers behind the leader before the shadows find us." Naomi commented, "If these shadows are the dark forces of this world, we need to find a way to stop them." Kazuki added, "If we work together, we can succeed in this world too." Haruto responded, "Yes, we can achieve anything together. It's time to make a plan." With determination, the trio began to make a new plan in the cave. To maintain the balance of the parallel universes, they would fight against the dark forces. But this time, they would have to survive in a world full of shadows. However, as long as they trusted each other, they believed they could overcome any challenge. Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi continued their struggle to survive in this shadow-filled parallel world and to find the true power behind the leader. Their first night in the cave had shown them how dangerous the environment in this world was. Silence prevailed in the cave. The trio would stay hidden here for a while to protect themselves from the dangers outside. Haruto examined the old maps hanging on the wall. These maps might have clues about other regions in this world and possibly about the forces of the shadows, he said. Naomi, exploring the ruins deep in the cave, said, "These ruins indicate that an ancient civilization once lived here. Maybe we can find information about the shadows." Kazuki remarked, We need to decide which direction to go. How helpful can these maps be? Haruto, carefully studying the map, said, "There are some markings related to the shadows on these maps. Perhaps we should follow these markings to find the source of the shadows." Naomi said, "The symbols on the map might be indicating some kind of temple. Going there might help us learn more about the shadows." Kazuki responded, "That's a good idea. However, we'll have to pass through areas infested with shadows. It could be dangerous." The trio left the cave and headed in the direction indicated by the map. As they progressed through the depths of the forest, they felt the shadows lurking around them. On a dark and cold night, every rustle in the forest silence became more frightening. Haruto said, "We're approaching our target. We need to be cautious." Naomi added, "We need to keep our eyes open. The shadows could attack at any moment." Kazuki remarked, "It will be difficult to advance through the shadows. We must be fast and silent." After a long walk, they reached the entrance of a large, ancient stone temple. The temple was covered in vines and had been weathered by time. As Haruto reached the door, he said, "Here it is. We need to go inside." Naomi warned, "There might be traps around the door. Let's be careful." Kazuki agreed, "We should check for traps before opening the door," and began examining the surroundings carefully. Upon opening the door, they entered a vast, dark interior. Inside the temple, there were ancient inscriptions and figures. Haruto read the inscriptions and said, "These inscriptions say that the source of the shadows is near here." Naomi observed, "These inscriptions might provide information about an ancient ritual. The ritual could control the power of the shadows." Kazuki suggested, "Perhaps this ritual is the key to fighting the shadows. We need to understand it." At that moment, shadows began to emerge from the depths of the temple. The shadows slowly advanced from the corners of the room, consuming everything in their path. Haruto shouted, "The shadows are coming. Quickly, we need to find the area where the ritual is located." Naomi urged, "We need to move fast. The shadows pose a great danger to us." Kazuki added, "We need to find the location of the ritual. It might be the only way to deal with the shadows." The trio navigated through the shadows and advanced deeper into the temple. The shadows continually attacked them, but they pressed on with determination. Eventually, they found an ancient stone altar in the deepest chamber of the temple. On the altar, an old book was open. Haruto opened the book and said, "This ritual contains a spell to limit the energy of the shadows. If we can perform this, we might be able to deal with the shadows." Naomi said, "We need to find the necessary materials to perform this spell." As she looked around, Kazuki cautioned, "We need to be careful while performing the spell. It could summon more shadows and make things even more dangerous." The trio gathered the required materials from the depths of the temple and began performing the ritual. As the temple filled with light and energy, the shadows slowly started to recede. After completing the ritual, the temple was somewhat brighter. Haruto, Naomi, and Kazuki looked at each other, tired but satisfied. "We did it. We've limited the power of the shadows," Haruto said. Naomi replied, "But this was just one step. We still have a lot of work to do to find the powers behind the leader." Kazuki agreed, "Yes, but this victory gives us hope. Together, we can achieve anything." The trio left the depths of the temple and began moving towards their next objective. They had made progress in this shadow-filled world, but greater challenges awaited them to maintain the balance of the parallel universes. As Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi exited the temple, they had achieved a significant victory in their recent struggle. However, their journey to find the powers behind the leader and restore balance in this world continued. The sun cast a faint light in the sky, but the world still glowed with a reddish brilliance. The trio set out from the temple to explore other regions of this world. Haruto examined the map and said, "The ritual we performed has significantly reduced the power of the shadows. However, we need more information to find the true power behind the leader." Naomi said, "This place is really complex. We need to go to the other locations indicated on the map." Kazuki noted, "It looks like there's a new target on the map. This could be a location closer to the source of the shadows." As the trio proceeded towards the area marked on the map, the landscape around them gradually changed. High mountains and deep valleys created an impressive sight under the red light. An approaching storm darkened the sky, and the howling wind shook their surroundings. "The storm is approaching. We need to speed up," Haruto said, feeling the effects of the storm. Naomi added, "This storm could slow us down. We need to find shelter." Kazuki suggested, "Let's head into that valley. We can take cover from the storm there." They moved into the depths of the valley. The storm intensified, with the wind's speed and the sound of thunder overwhelming them. As they entered the valley, they found a large cave. The cave seemed like a refuge from the storm. Haruto said, "We can stay here. Let's rest until the storm passes." While checking the interior of the cave, Naomi cautioned, "There might be traps inside the cave. Let's check everything thoroughly." Kazuki said, "We need to be careful for our safety," as he examined the corners of the cave. As they ventured deeper into the cave, ancient inscriptions and symbols suddenly appeared on the walls. Haruto remarked, "These symbols indicate signs of an ancient civilization. We might find information about the source of the shadows here." Naomi added, "These symbols could be marking important information about the shadows. We need to understand them." Kazuki suggested, "Perhaps we can find a clue about the source of the shadows in the depths of this cave." At that moment, a figure emerged from the dark corners of the cave. It was a tall, slender figure dressed in dark, flowing robes. It approached them step by step through the shadows. The figure spoke with a cold voice. "Did you come here to learn the secrets of the shadows? But there is no place for you here." Haruto asked boldly, "Who are you? What do you know about the shadows?" The figure responded, "I am the guardian of this world. I protect the source of the shadows. Obtaining this information could be dangerous for you." Naomi said, "We want to stop the shadows. We want to protect this world and the other universes. Can you help us?" The figure replied, "The source of the shadows will not want you to pass through here. However, if you wish to obtain the information, you must first prove yourselves." The figure then initiated a series of tests in the depths of the cave. These tests measured both physical and mental endurance. Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi faced a great challenge to pass each of the tests. Haruto said, "We must pass these tests. We need to obtain the information to deal with the shadows, with determination despite the difficulties of the tests." Naomi added, "If we work together, we can pass these tests. Everything is for this moment." Kazuki said, "We must overcome these challenges to reach our goal, with resolve." After passing the tests, the figure said, "You have succeeded. You have earned the right to learn about the source of the shadows." And a passage opened in the walls of the cave. They passed through the passage and arrived at an ancient library about the source of the shadows. Inside were details on how to control the shadows and rituals for doing so. Haruto said, "This information can teach us how to deal with the shadows," as he examined the books. Naomi added, "By using this information, we can control the shadows. We need this knowledge to maintain the balance between worlds." Kazuki remarked, "If we learn this information together, we can confront the powers behind the leader. We need to be prepared." The trio gathered the information about the shadows and began preparing for their future battles. This new knowledge would help them overcome the challenges they faced. However, their struggle with the powers behind the leader was far from over. Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi, having absorbed the information about the source of the shadows, were now ready to fight more strongly. After ensuring they had collected all the necessary information, they needed to set out again to find the true powers behind the leader and restore balance between the worlds. As they left the cave, they proceeded under the red light. On their way back, they discussed how to use the newly acquired knowledge and rituals in their battle against the powers behind the leader. Haruto said, "This information could help us control the shadows and limit their power. However, there are still many dangers in this world." As he reviewed the map once more, Naomi added, "We need to apply this information correctly. We should make a clear plan on how to do this." Kazuki agreed, "Yes, we need to be prepared to confront the powers behind the leader. This knowledge could be our greatest weapon." The trio made their way out of the valley and headed towards the location of the temple. The storm gradually subsided, and the sky returned to its reddish hue. As they approached the temple, they paid close attention to the settlements and areas where the local people lived. The inhabitants of this region had spoken of rumors about the shadows, and these insights could provide clues about how the shadows related to the powers behind the leader. When they neared a village, they sought to speak with the locals and gather information. In the village square, an elderly woman greeted them. Her face was etched with deep lines and experience. Haruto said, "Hello. We are looking for information about the shadows. Is there anyone here who knows about them?" The elderly woman replied, "Shadow entities are the dark side of this world, but some people know the ancient legends. They may be able to help you." Naomi asked, "What are these legends?" The elderly woman said, "The source of the shadow entities is hidden in an ancient temple. However, going there could be dangerous. The shadows gather their power in the temple." Kazuki inquired, "What kind of information might we find in this temple?" The elderly woman said, "There is an ancient spell in the temple to limit the power of the shadows. But using this spell requires great courage." With the information provided by the elderly woman, they pinpointed the location of the temple. In short, their new objective was to learn the ancient spell in the temple and obtain the necessary information to control the shadows. Haruto said, "We need to find the ancient spell in this temple to deal with the shadows. It might help us in our struggle against the powers behind the leader." Naomi added, "However, we need to be cautious to reach this temple and stay safe. The shadows might reappear." Kazuki said, "We will be careful. We don't know what we'll find in the temple, but together we can overcome any challenge." They left the village and set out to find the temple. Their journey was filled with difficult terrain and dangerous obstacles. However, they found the courage needed to locate the source of the shadows and confront the true powers behind the leader. As they approached the temple, the ancient stones and symbols reappeared. The temple, under the influence of the shadows, exuded a dark and ominous atmosphere. Haruto said, "Here it is. We need to enter and find the ancient spell." Naomi cautioned, "Be careful. The shadows may be strong here, and this spell could be dangerous." Kazuki added, "This could be the most significant stage of our journey. We need to be ready." As they entered the temple, they began to descend deeper among the ancient stones. They knew that the temple housed a chamber where the energy of the shadows was gathered and filled with ancient spells. In the chamber, they found an altar filled with ancient inscriptions and spells. They spent time understanding and applying these ancient magics. However, the shadows' influence still lingered in the temple, and a new threat began to emerge. As the night progressed, shadows reappeared from the depths of the temple. Haruto, Naomi, and Kazuki had to figure out how to combat these new threats and utilize the ancient spell effectively. This situation would push them one step closer to finding the source of the shadows and confronting the true powers behind the leader, while simultaneously revealing a new threat. And so, Haruto, Kazuki, and Naomi's journey in this shadow-filled world continues. They are progressing step by step in facing dark forces in the temple, deciphering ancient spells, and uncovering the secrets behind the leader. What will happen in the next chapter? Will the secrets of the shadows be revealed, or will new dangers emerge? To not miss our story and stay with us on this grand adventure, subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. Be ready for the surprises awaiting you in each new episode of this saga. Don't forget to share your comments and thoughts with us. See you in the next chapter. Goodbye for now, and continue the adventure.